Oh gosh. Age and pronouns, please.
My age and pronouns, you said.
Mm-hmm.
26 and him, her,
Thank you.
him, his, I believe.
He, him.
He, him, yes.
Cool. Okay. Which prompt do you disagree with today?
Um, Body count doesn't matter. I was here yesterday trying to understand, but you guys kind of dropped me. I think I got a galaxy.
Did
So,
indeed, yeah. That can happen.
yes. But you see, I'm still willing to learn from my mistakes.
No, I
So,
love that. I appreciate it. Okay, so isn't that the same topic though that we spoke about yesterday?
it is, but I kind of came away from it none the wiser. I still kind of still stick to the position, whereas I was hoping you would tell me how what I was saying was either from what I remember you said, it's either insecure or I forgot kind of the other point you made. I was really
Okay.
kind of trying to identify whether it is some sort of insecurity
Insecurity or misogyny. Yeah.
or
So
misogyny. Yeah.
but the perspective I still have on it is that if for whatever reason tomorrow you weren't allowed to ask a woman her body count,
Hmm.
or you tried and she wouldn't tell you, right? You would still probably date women. You wouldn't
Uh,
just not date them.
wait, say that again. Sorry.
Okay, so if you weren't ever allowed to find out a woman's body count,
Yeah.
I still believe that you would still date women. You wouldn't just decide to be single for the rest of your life because you can't have that piece of information.
Yeah, I think I would date them, but I don't know if I would get into a long-term relationship with them, regardless of whether I know their body count or not.
So you're saying
Like,
the
if
only reason you could get into a relationship with them is if you knew what the body count was?
not the only reason. I mean, that's it's not that binary. However, that is most definitely a an important factor. If I didn't know, I'm just going to assume they're all high, and therefore I'm not getting to a relationship. I'll just have casual partners.
Yeah, so then you wouldn't be looking for a serious relationship with anyone because you think body count is the one defining thing that would make a relationship successful for you.
As I am saying, that is not the only thing, but yes, it is
But enough.
one of the things. Yeah, most definitely, alongside other things.
Okay. So I'm trying to
So
get you to see that as being something that you think is automatically an indication of that relationship being a success or not because of something you feel when you hear that information. That's
again, I don't think I evaluate the person based on their body count. I evaluate myself, which for me, I don't want that. And obviously, this is what I was saying to you last time when we were talking about feelings, etc. And I was trying to explain myself, and perhaps I did it poorly, but I was trying to explain that I I am not concerned with someone's body count in the sense that the person's body count automatically disqualifies them or unqualifies them. I simply regard anyone with a high body count, man or female,
man or
the
woman.
same.
Man or woman.
Man or woman. Sorry, man or woman, regarded the same. This is the same as if I was to ask my friend, "Hey, what's your body count?" and he's a guy. I'm going to look at him a certain way, the same way I'll look at myself. And this doesn't stem from any sort of insecurity. And we can define what insecurity is. Insecurity for me being some sort of fear or some want to control something outside my own self. I don't have anything like that. I simply regard my partner having a higher body count as something I'm unable to do. And if you was to ask me why, again, without using statistics here, this is just genuinely me speaking, without using statistics, everyone that I have been with a high body count, or even observing those with higher body counts, I see that their relationships are more likely down the line to break up than those that didn't have a high body count to start with.
So is that your main reason as to why you wouldn't want to entertain the idea of going on a date or being in a relationship with someone with a high body count? Is that the
No,
main?
I go on dates all the time. Some of the women
No, I
I
said
go on dates with.
relationship. I said being in
Oh
a
yeah,
committed relationship. Is that the reason why?
it's one of the reasons why I wouldn't be in a committed relationship with someone with a high body count. Yeah, most definitely.
What's the other reason? Because at the moment, that is insecurity. Because essentially, you're saying that that's automatically going to happen to you, and you don't want to risk that possibility when it's not
No, I'm
something you
saying
can
this is
prove.
just an observation.
I
This
know,
is
but
an
it's an observation that's anecdotal, and that's my point, right? Your limited view of the world is that you think that's how you're going to apply that now to women collectively who have a high
okay.
body count.
Yeah, but removing that from my collective view of the world, this is a fact. Like what I'm saying isn't
Not
an
fact.
opinion. It is. You can research it. I can bring up the literature for
Nothing,
you.
nothing you can give that would be factual that body count is the causation of certain behaviors or attitudes.
No, I can't give it as a causation, but I can definitely demonstrate a correlation between a
Sure,
higher body count and the prevalence of divorce amongst couples that have
sure.
had a
So
higher body count.
when people get into a relationship, do you think majority of the time they know what their body counts are? Because you said
Pardon?
yourself you would need to know. So do you think the majority of them know?
Not necessarily. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be able to answer that. I don't think so.
You don't think the majority of people who are getting married know each other's body count?
Oh, sorry, I didn't understand your question. Yeah, most of them probably know. Yeah,
Right. So if they get married knowing each other's body count,
yeah.
then the reason they get a divorce is not because of the body count. That's why the correlation is irrelevant.
Okay, this is, yeah, but this is obviously I'm unable to explain it better. However, I can demonstrate and show you the literature that directly correlates body count specifically in couples and the correlation between high body count and specifically those couples ending. Specifically.
I've already explained to you that that's not the causation, therefore the correlation is irrelevant. If there was 1,000 people who got divorced
Uh-huh.
and they all had high body counts, but 300 of them got divorced because there was abuse in the relationship, that would mean that abuse was the cause of the breakdown of that relationship, not the body count. If
Indeed, but
100 of them cheated, then the reason they got a divorce was because someone had an affair. If they
yeah,
fell out of love, the reason they got divorced is because they fell out of love. If they were
indeed.
arguing and were having constant domestics in the household, and that's the reason why they couldn't be together anymore,
I,
that's the reason for
I
divorce.
I understand the methodology you just used to explain, but you're forgetting there are control groups in this subject. So using the same example you just gave, if there were 1,000 people that were in a relationship, 300 of them might have broken up because of XY reasons, as you just mentioned. But if there is 1,000 people that are also a control group, and those 1,000 people are, let's say, don't have a high body count, and you're looking at 1,000, the couple that has a higher body count, and you're seeing that, oh, after every 300 people in this couple, they tend to go through domestic abuse. And then you look at the other 1,000 that have a lower body count, and you're saying that, oh, it's only 1 in 10. That should show you some sort of correlation, shouldn't it? Obviously, these aren't the exact statistics, but I'm just going on to the example that you gave.
Again, like it's so easy to break down correlation. If out of those 1,000 women who got a divorce, or the men, if 800 of those women had cereal for breakfast, are you going to then start asking women what they have for breakfast because women that have cereal are more likely to have a divorce?
Wait, say that again, sorry.
Sure. So out of the 1,000 people that got divorced,
Yeah.
let's say 800 of them had cereal for breakfast. Are you now going to go on dates with women and ask them what they eat for breakfast because if they have cereal, you think it's more likely that you'll get a divorce?
And not necessarily, no, of
That's
course not.
correlation.
Yeah,
That's correlation.
I understand what you're saying. I am again stating from sources that only study the effects of high body count. So what I am saying in
No, hold on.
relation,
It doesn't prove that those are the effects of a high body count because that would demonstrate cause. That's the point that's being made here. It doesn't demonstrate that body count is the effect. You're trying to connect it as if it does. It doesn't say body count has led to the divorce.
it says body count has led to the prevalence of divorce.
Go and find me the study because everyone in here will be able to debunk it very quickly because we've had this
Uh,
all. Is it National Family of Institutes by any chance?
I doubt it. I don't think so. It might have been. Hold on, let me just try bring up the sources. Uh, whilst I'm looking for the source from your let's say, opinion or your observation of the statements I'm saying, everything I'm saying. Can you tell me my position and why I'm wrong, just so that I can understand?
Yeah, I explained to you that what you're saying is that body count is the reason for divorces occurring. You're
Hmm.
looking for like familiarity of like patterns of behavior leading to it. But
Okay.
the study doesn't demonstrate that body count is the reason of that. That's just one thing that has been asked as a question that now has been turned into the reason for divorces. Hence why I said to you, there are hundreds of questions you could ask those people. And if you collectively found something that accumulated to like 90% of them all saying the same answer, that then gives you the impression to say, hey, we all found something between
All
these
right.
900
Uh,
people. So this must also contribute to it.
okay. Sorry for interrupting there. And I would just like to say before I continue, thank you for taking the time to explain this because you don't have to. So the a few of the studies or the sources I'm going to note. One's from PubMed Central, and basically it says this research shows a correlation between a high number of premarital sexual partners and an increased risk of divorce. The
We've already covered that.
exact, pardon?
We've already covered that. I've already explained to you that doesn't mean that divorce was caused because of body count. It's irrelevant. It doesn't literally mean body count actually makes divorce more likely. You're just trying to assert the fact that it does because
No,
that's
I'm not trying. I'm
so
only asserting the fact that we does based on studies that are there. It
doesn't
literally
prove
says
that.
premarital sex predicts divorce, but we do not know why. Scholars have attributed the relationship to factors such as differences in
Just said,
beliefs,
hold on, you
but
just said
these
we do not know why.
explanations,
You
sorry,
just said it predicts divorce, but we do not know why. If you don't
pre-
know why, you can't say then that it's because of body count.
yeah, but it's literally saying premarital sex predicts divorce. So you can observe that someone that's had more sex premaritally has a higher chance of divorce than someone who hasn't. Like literally, the study is just on premarital sex. Like obviously, I'm unable to articulate better than the people that have actually done the study. But you can look. Literally, it says, look, even in
Research the
1991, they
study.
studied this. It says premarital sex
When,
is
sorry?
linked to higher. Sorry.
What, when, what year?
It says so the last one of the last studies that was done is 2011. There's one in 2003, there's one in 1991, there's one in 2025, there's also another one in 2026, 2007, 2017. I can
Can you
keep
link
listing
any
the
of the
sources.
studies in the chat so that people can go and read them because they would
Mo-
love to see this because we hear this
yeah,
all the
most
time and
most
nothing ever holds.
most definitely. Let me see if I can even put in the link in.
Jay, you're muted. You don't understand what ableism is. Don't follow me as well. Follow me.
Boom.
Nightmare, can I drop you down to the
That's
chat so that you can link them in the chat for other people to read if that's okay? Because you seem to have got so many.
yeah, yeah. I put it in the chat. I put it in the chat. You can kind of pin my comment if that's all right. Boom. I've done
Can't,
it again.
can't pin it while you're here.
Ooh, can I send it to you? Maybe I'll message it to you.
No, people in the chat will be able to copy and paste that and have a look at it.
Yeah,
If anyone in the chat wants to.
yeah, sure. And maybe again, maybe this will again educate me on how I am not to trust sources that I find online, obviously. But what this is saying, just to reiterate, it says premarital sex is linked to higher rates of divorce. Khan in London, 1991, Pike, 2011, particularly when it involves partners other than one's eventual spouse. Teachman 2003. But the nature of this relationship is poorly understood. Three questions remain unanswered concerning exploratory mechanism, variable effect sizes, and sex differences. Scholars have speculated that the effect of premarital sex on divorce may be related to beliefs and values, marriage commitment, religious background, or learnt relationship patterns.
Maybe. So not confirmed then.
Whether it's confirmed or not, I think we can't ignore the
Oh,
fact that these studies
come on,
have
man.
wait.
Maybe. And then
No,
like
no,
not
they're saying
confirmed.
wait. I don't think you're understanding. They're saying premarital effect. Premarital scholars have speculated that the effect of premarital sex on divorce may be related to beliefs and values. That does not mean that premarital sex is not still doing what is being observed. It just means we don't know why this is a cause. They're saying
No,
that
no, no, no. It doesn't say we don't know why it's a cause, because nowhere does it say it is a
it
cause.
does. It says premarital sex predicts divorce. That is literally the first line.
Predict. Predict is not factual, is it? Like, that's just like me sitting here saying, I predict that the next man that comes up on this panel to talk against me is going to be misogynistic. Like, it's a prediction. Doesn't mean it's
Uh,
going to be true.
wouldn't that show correlation? Isn't that what a
I've
prediction
already told
somewhat
you,
is?
correlation is
I,
not
I know.
factual.
I know.
Like,
Pardon my ignorance. Sorry, I don't mean to frustrate you.
I'm not
Pardon my
frustrated.
ignorance.
I'm repeating the same thing over and over.
Because I'm
The
genuinely
study
trying to
does not. The
understand.
study does not prove that having more sexual partners causes divorce. It doesn't prove that.
It doesn't prove that, but it shows that there is a positive correlation.
And again, I've already explained to you, correlation is not causation, and therefore it is not acceptable as something to go by.
I
You
understand
can't.
correlation is not causation. However, there
And
is
I'm
a
on the causation, right? Because why is it in these studies? Why is it they didn't ask those people involved what the reason was that they got a divorce?
I think they did.
Okay, so can you go and find that for me?
In the okay, I'll keep reading through the studies. Sure.
I'm going to switch up the guests because there's a lot of people also waiting. I'm happy to speak to you again a bit later, and I will be live in the evening. But
Okay.
genuinely, like, read the studies a bit more to find out that kind of information. Because if they've left out the cause for the divorce, when you could literally ask the people who got divorced, hey, what was the reason you got a divorce? And they tell you, right, that would be more factual than saying, let's just predict why they got a divorce and focus on something like body count.
Okay.
Like, yeah. But I appreciate you coming back. But I think, like, these studies often get kind of Googled or ChatGPT'd and then just chucked into the chat. And it's like, we've seen these all before. And men need to realize that that's not enough to just kind of say, hey, here's a study that holds correlation. I'm not interested in correlation if it doesn't prove the reason for it.
Completely valid and understood. I will try to educate myself a little bit more, and I'll try return.
Appreciate
Thanks
that.
for your
Have a good
time.
one. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Who in the chat was, someone was asking, I'm sure we've seen a few cuck interests. I'm sure of it. Not sure. Maybe sure. Marcus, no, not there anymore. SB. Sunny. Sunny, you still here? Or who's that? SB. Asian pronouns, please. Harvey, no, that would be racist, and that shows you don't understand the prompts. So feel free to request to come up, but you're getting muted for that comment. Absolutely not. Body count doesn't matter. It's just your misogyny or insecurities. Trying to pass it off that it matters for both genders doesn't remove that. Age and pronouns, please, Ollie.
18. He, him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
Oh, I don't disagree. I'm just wondering, what do you mean by the first one?
Yeah, so any dynamic between two people where you think a friend zone applies, I'm saying there is an emotion or a behavior that does exist, and that's what needs to be dealt with. Men avoiding that will then go and call it a friend zone. That doesn't mean the friend zone exists. It means they're avoiding accountability.
Accountability for what?
The behavior they choose to uphold after they've been rejected. Because the majority of the time, men will call a friend zone when they ask a woman out and she says, no, I'd rather be friends. And he'll go, oh, I've been friend zoned. If you haven't, you've been rejected. So what you do after that determines on whether your behavior is acceptable or not. That doesn't make it a friend zone.
What it is that when they get rejected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I don't think there's any problem with saying that there is a friend zone. I don't.
It's avoiding.
What is the problem?
I said it's avoiding accountability.
Yeah, what? So you think they commit a moral evil by asking them out?
No, that's not what I said.
I don't really understand what you mean by accountability here.
It's the behaviors you exhibit after the rejection. So if you've
The
been
rejected, or just saying I'm in the friend zone, as in this woman wants to be my friend and I don't want that.
Right, so if you don't want that, then you just leave and go your separate ways. You're not in a friend zone, are you?
Yeah, but if you get friend zone, that's what it means. So you've just said it exists.
No, you didn't listen. You don't get
I really just did.
Ollie, seriously, listen. She didn't say to you, I'm friend zoning you, did she? Is that her words?
Well, no, that's not. That's
Okay.
not what's important.
You're in,
What?
because now you start to see how ridiculous you sound because it's you that creates it, right? She didn't say it to you. It's the man
Yes,
that
but
gets
it's still a phenomenon. What?
Well, the reason
It's
why
still a phenomenon that's present.
I'm gonna mute you because the reason why you keep on saying what and jumping in is you're not listening till I've finished. You're just interrupting. You don't understand the full thing that I'm saying. So wait until I've finished, then you'll understand a bit more. When she rejects you, sometimes she might say, "I'm happy to be friends." And if you choose to accept that, then you're going to be in a friendship. If you don't, then you just go your separate ways. There is no friend zone. But if you're calling it that, it's because you don't like the fact that what actually happened was you got rejected. So where do you think a friend zone applies?
I get what you mean. Yeah, yeah, sure, fair enough.
Where do you think a friend zone applies?
Well, it's still like if you think of it more as an action rather than just a zone, right? It's just like
What's the
if
action?
the action is if you for the man if you get rejected,
Mm-hmm.
and then they say like, oh, do you want to be friends? That's exactly what it is. Like your rejection gets declined and then turned into a request of friendship, and that's just a common phenomenon.
Yeah, so you have a choice now to be friends or to
Yes,
go
but it's
separate.
still an action that occurs.
The
Do you
action
not
is the
think?
rejection. That's the action. You've
Well,
been
no,
rejected.
but if you qualify it a bit more and you say, well, it's not just a rejection. They've offered
A friendship.
a related request of friendship. Then that's a friends. And I don't. Is that not something that happens?
Yeah, the rejection happens, and now you have a choice to be their friend or not. There is no zone that you've been placed in. You just have a choice.
I'm not exactly, but that's what I said. If you think of it more as an action rather than just like a state of relation, then it can sort of
Again,
occur.
there's no action.
Well, there is. The action is well, not even if, because I'm just being a bit heteronormative. If one person says, I want to go out with you, and the other person says, that's not what I want, I want to be friends. That seems to be friend zoning someone as if the word is used.
No, that's basically saying that their boundaries are that they want a friendship and nothing more. So therefore, they are offering you a friendship with that person and nothing else. You now have a choice to be friends and respect their boundary.
I understand. Yeah, I know, but I'm still saying that as the word is used, that's what happens. It doesn't. I don't think it means anything more than that.
Are you in the friend zone on your own or with the person?
So my screen time
Are you in the friend zone on your own or with the other person?
with another person, because that's what happened.
So
Like
did she
when
consent to being in a friend zone with you? Did she agree to that?
that's not the point.
No, it is the point. This is my point of how men make it up as they go along, right? Because if you went to the pub or a bar and you saw a woman and you went, "Hey, we're in a relationship," can't really do that without the other person consenting to that dynamic, right? Because it involves both of you.
But then no, but the point is, if they say, if you ask someone out and they say, no, but I want to be friends. That's how the word friend zone is used, I think, and I don't think it means anything more than that. I don't think it really. Well, I don't know because I haven't done much research on this, but I don't see how it leads to any like misogyny.
Sure. So we have men who have been rejected by women who agree to them being a friend or being in a friendship, but they also think over a period of time they might get them to change their mind. So they hang around. They don't actually want a friendship because they wanted to go on a date with them. They wanted to be in a relationship with them. But then suddenly, after being rejected, they're accepting a friendship, which is not really what they wanted. So them hanging around and hoping to change their mind over time is coercive, something that a lot of men do.
Oh right,
So, yeah, it can be in a predatory way. But men will say they're in a friend zone because then they don't.
I guess in that sense it's a bit objectifying.
It's predatory.
No, okay, yeah, fair enough. But I think maybe, yeah, I mean, on its own, Like just like anecdotally, just from the way I've seen it used, I don't think it has to mean that.
You
Do
wouldn't
you know
know
what I'm trying
though.
to say?
You wouldn't know though, because if one of your friends said he
What do
was
you
in
mean I
the
wouldn't
friend
know?
zone, you wouldn't know because if one of your friends said he was in the friend zone with someone else, you don't know what his intentions are.
Well, no, I can ask questions.
Yeah, but men don't do that. When men say they're in the friend
I,
zone, they don't ask
it's not
questions
just
of what it means and how, and like what you plan on doing, what's your intentions, what's your behaviors, what's your mindset. Men don't
no,
do
but
that.
if I'm talking with my friend, I'd ask. Okay, well, I mean, I agree with your point. Like, if you're saying, oh, I'm in the friend zone and I'm just gonna stick around and like wait, then that's like quite objectifying. I just disagree that that's how it's used all the time, like the term itself.
It's not objectifying.
And obviously that's just like a pedantic, just well not pedantic, it's just semantics.
Yeah, they're
What do
important.
you mean it's not?
I said it's not objectifying, it's predatory.
So I can't hear you. You're cutting. I think my Wi-Fi's bad.
I think so too. Come back to me when it's sorted, because I think you might be over talking at times, not intentionally, but it's happening. Ethan, age and pronouns, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, age and pronouns, please.
Ethan, 18, and he.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
The friend zone doesn't exist.
Sure. Can you give me an example of how the friend zone exists?
So before I give an example, I'll provide my definition for it. So my definition for like friend zone would be a situation in which we have two people, one party wants to have a romantic relationship, the other party does not, and they both agree, and one of them asks the other person to be friends, and that person can either agree or disagree. If they disagree, I would say they're not in the friend zone anymore because the friendship isn't there anymore.
Yep.
And if they do agree, then I would argue they're in a friend zone. I wouldn't categorize. So first of all, before we continue, these are my two clarifications. I wouldn't categorize friend zone as a bad thing, because a friend zone can only exist when both parties want to be friends. But I would just categorize it as just simply a situation where one party would prefer a romantic relationship rather than a friendship.
So if the person who rejected you has said, I'd rather be friends, and you agree to that,
Yeah.
her boundary in this situation is that she wants friendship. But you're saying that you would agree to that whilst having romantic feelings towards her.
Yes, because like being rejected doesn't remove.
So if you're agreeing to a friendship
Yes.
whilst having romantic feelings towards her, you have not dealt with those romantic feelings and you've now brought them into a friendship. That's not now platonic.
Not necessarily, because
It's not platonic.
no. The reason I'm not saying it is still platonic is because you don't have to do anything about it, basically. So like you could be in a friendship
That's the assumption
liking the other
that men
person.
don't. That's with the assumption men don't do anything about it.
Sure, but that does not make it not a friend zone. Like that
Yeah, it
that's a
does.
behavioral. That's a behavioral
No,
thingy.
it does make it not a friend zone because she didn't consent to a friend zone. She consented to a friendship and you agreed. If you've now decided to call it
Wait.
something different, that's a you issue.
In what definition did she not consent? If she asked to be a
You said,
friend,
I'm happy to be friends.
yes,
You said yes, then you're in a friendship, not a
sure.
friend zone.
Those aren't mutually exclusive.
That's right, they're not synonymous to each other. So why
No, they're not mutually exclusive. Like you can be in a friendship and a friend zone.
No. She did not say that. She said friends. Don't change it for her. That's not for you to do. She said, I'm happy to be friends. Her boundary is friendship. If you accept that, you're accepting to be her friend and in a friendship with her. If you're now calling it something different, like a friend zone, you've got a different agenda going on. Otherwise, you would
Not necessarily.
Well, yes, because otherwise then you're being dishonest to her. She said she wants to be friends.
You're
and-
assuming. Okay, let me explain something. You're assuming that, for example, let me try to explain something. If let's say I get rejected, right, and they say I still want to be friends, what I'm going to do with that is, if I want to be friends with them, I'm going to continue to be friends with them and stop pursuing her romantically. It doesn't mean that I didn't want her or I
you're in a
didn't want
friendship.
her.
That's fine.
Sure, but friendship is not like you're saying as if friendship and friend zone are two different things necessarily. They are two different things, but one can be in a friend zone and still be in a friendship with somebody. That's
How
my
are you in a
point.
friend zone and a friendship at the same time?
Because what you want, you didn't get what you initially want, but you're okay with being friends. That's my point. Like
You're not though. If you
Yes,
wanted something else and you didn't get it, then you didn't want a friendship. You wanted a relationship.
okay. So for example, if I want pizza, but I'm okay with having spaghetti, it's not that I
Talking
don't want.
about human emotions, not food. We're talking about the way that you have
It's
feelings.
it's an analogy. It doesn't.
Yeah, and the analogy
Somebody.
doesn't, hold on, the analogy doesn't correlate when you are talking about feelings towards an individual who has also feelings that you can impact. The pizza, the pasta, whatever, does not get offended by you choosing one over the other. It's a terrible analogy because it's completely irrelevant. We're talking about human beings.
Yeah, but you don't have to get offended from being rejected. That's my point. You don't have to be. That's an
Then
assumption.
if men didn't get offended by it, they'd accept a friendship and not
No,
need to call it.
I am. I'm not explaining something. I'm not like. If you get friend zoned, you have to. You're
Don't
gonna. You
get
have to.
friend zone. Stop using
Okay, sorry.
normative like that. This
If
is
you
what-
accept, let me explain it better.
No, I have to mute because you just tripped up. This is the point, right? This is what men do every single time, right? When men explain this, they keep using phrases like when you get friend zoned. And this is the problem, is because you keep interpreting it as something that's happened to you like that, you then try to find a way to defend it. That's the problem. You didn't get friend zoned. You got rejected. You got offered a friendship. But you're still here saying when you get friend zoned because you can't get that narrative out of your mind because you're so convinced it exists. That's the problem. Literally.
What I meant to say, I've used get friend zone many times. What I meant to say, when you like accept a friend zone, because it's more of an exception because you can reject it by not being friends with them anymore. When you accept that, it does not mean that the friendship doesn't exist or you're going to pursue a romantic relationship. The moment you accept a friendship, it's done, right? Being friend zone doesn't necessitate you continuing to pursue a romantic relationship.
Stop saying when you've been friend zoned. You haven't.
Yeah, okay, sorry. You haven't been, you've accepted being friend zone because
No, again, no. You haven't been friend zoned. You can't now.
no. Yes, well, you've accepted like being in that situation. That's my point. Like you've accepted being
rejection.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And
No, not just the rejection.
offer
You can accept a rejection and not be friends, right?
Yeah, so you go your separate
Yeah,
ways.
exactly. So when I say accept a friend zone, I mean you accept the rejection but continue to be friends with her. That's what I mean.
So
I don't
that's-
just mean. Yeah, sure. I would count friend zone as a part of like as a like a type of friendship, basically.
But you can, but that doesn't make it actually exist. That's just you want to try and justify something because there's a
Wait,
behavior there that's
what-
different from a friendship. You haven't
Wait,
explained what constitutes the difference between being in a so-called friend zone with a woman or being in a
Yeah.
friendship with a woman.
So the difference between these two is a friendship would just be any type of relationship which is non-romantic when you guys have like likings to each other, a non-romantic type of relationship. A friend zone would be the same thing, except instead of none of those people in a friendship not necessarily liking each other romantically, in a friend zone, one of them likes the other, right? So in a friendship, you don't have to have
Why
anyone
are you
liking.
having a friendship with someone when you have romantic feelings towards them?
I wouldn't do that, but if somebody did do that, it might be because they still value the friendship more than
If you value the
not.
friendship more than losing it, you work on your emotional intelligence, which would be to go away and wait until those feelings have gone, so that you don't come back into that friendship where those feelings could impact it negatively.
Sure,
That's being authentic
sure,
in a
sure.
friendship.
That's being smart.
No,
but
that's
you-
being emotionally intelligent. It's not
Yeah,
about
no
harm.
problem. Yeah, emotional
Right.
intelligence.
But
I have no
then-
problem
but
with
then
that.
you have to recognize trying to claim then that there is this friend zone dynamic is avoiding the accountability of dealing with the situation appropriately.
That will be true only if that's true only if you treat the friend zone as something that you like you don't deserve, basically, right?
No, you don't even need to think of the concept of this friend zone in the first place, right? The word friend zone does not need to get mentioned in how to deal with this situation respectfully. You got rejected, she's offered you a friendship. You then say to yourself, right, I do want to be friends with this person because I do want them in my life on some level. However, I have these romantic feelings that could impact that friendship. So I'm going to take some time until these feelings disappear. Then I can come back and say, hey, if it's still okay to be friends, I'm happy for that. And then everything's fine. Why? No such thing as a friend zone, just you holding yourself accountable for dealing with your emotions effectively.
So I agree that's what you should do, and I would say that if somebody did that, they're not in the friend zone because they're not in a friendship with somebody who
But then you're
they're in a
proving my point. You're
Uh,
proving my
what-
point,
what-
which is
what's
then
the point?
men are choosing to just hide behind the word friend zone because they don't want to take accountability of how to behave appropriately.
But that's not the definition. That's not the topic. That's not the topic. The topic is if it exists or not. I'm okay with saying friend zone. You're not supposed to use it as a thing. Like I wouldn't advise anyone
Even we're
to
not putting anywhere.
be. Well, no. Do you understand? I don't think you're trying to understand my point. My point isn't that you should treat the friend zone as something that you just get it and like it's not your fault and you can't do anything about it. My point is simply that it is something that exists that you should avoid, and the way to avoid it is if you get rejected, don't be friends with her until you move on. That would actually be my advice. I wouldn't advise anyone to be in a friendship with
Your
somebody
advice
who
with
they
it. That's,
can't.
that's the advice you would give to everyone.
Yeah. I'm not claiming this as my thing. I'm just saying that's an advice I would give. So basically, all I'm saying is the friend zone thing exists, but obviously it's been used in a negative way. I don't doubt that it's been used in a negative way.
Again, you
But
haven't
something.
demonstrated anything that proves it exists. All you've tried to
So
do
okay,
is demonstrate an example.
you reject my
Ethan, all you've done is given an example of a way in which a man in this situation has not dealt with the situation respectfully. And because of that, you've given this name friend zone. It's not. It's just avoiding accountability for what he needs to do. Calling it a friend zone is deflective and avoidant of dealing with what needs to be dealt with. That's it. You're going
So
to keep calling it a friend zone. I'm gonna say
do you reject my definition for friend zone?
I reject any definition from it. Do you even know where it came from, by the way?
No, I don't know where it came from.
No, it came from Friends. Have you ever seen the TV show Friends?
I haven't watched all of it, but I know of it.
Cool. Okay, so season 1, episode 7, right? Ross gets told that he's in the friend zone. Why? Because he hasn't disclosed his feelings to Rachel. She doesn't know, and therefore he's stuck in this "I'm just friends" zone, right? Then what we see is Rachel gets a boyfriend called Paolo. Okay, when she gets a boyfriend, she's intimate with him in front of her friends and in front of Ross, and you can see the discomfort on Ross's face. You can then see the discomfort of the friends around him, seeing how he is feeling about the fact that he is seeing someone who he's got feelings for kissing another guy. Then we see that they break up, and when they break up, we have Chandler and Joey saying to him, "Hey, this is your chance to get out of the friend zone. This is your chance to show her that you are the one that she should be with." So what does he do? He takes the opportunity to go over to Rachel, who is in a very vulnerable state, and doesn't go there to console her as a friend. He goes there to console her for his own personal gain to potentially be her future partner. That is predatory. That is poor communication. That is manipulative.
I agree.
How the term friend zone came about. And so when men try to use this word in all different varieties, all it's doing at its root is avoiding accountability of dealing with a situation appropriately and respectfully. That's it. So when you're sitting here saying, yeah, the friend zone does exist, you don't even know the roots of it. You don't even know the origins of where it came from. You know, like, and what happens in the Friends sitcom, you might not like know all of it, gets painted out that Ross and Rachel is this love story. Their whole relationship was full of toxic behavior.
Yeah, I know that part. I know that part at least. I know the toxic part of it because I've seen it online and stuff. Okay, so I agree partly with what you said. So I agree that the friend zone has been used by men to not take accountability. I agree that part. The reason I say it still exists is because just because a situation is like can be used in this or is used in disrespectful manner doesn't mean that the situation doesn't exist. All that means is that is a bad situation or that's a bad like
let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
When Ross had feelings for Rachel, if he'd have gone up to her and said, "I have romantic feelings for you, do you want to go on a date with me?" and she said, "No, I'd rather be friends," then they'd have stayed as friends.
Sure.
Right. So he wouldn't have then been told he's in a friend zone, because the reason he was told that was because he didn't disclose his feelings. He was keeping them to himself.
I also wouldn't categorize that as a friend zone though, because
this is what I say about men, right? You are choosing what you think the friend zone is when it was already given a meaning the first time it was mentioned.
Sure, but like
men pick and choose how they want to.
Definitions change. Whoa, definitions change. What are you on about? Like
Based on
definitions
what?
change
Based on what?
based on like social changes and social
Thank you. Thank
like
you. Based
acceptance.
on men wanting to get away with behaviors, right? They use it for their own benefit to say, hey, I'm in the friend zone with this woman, and that's where the conversation ends. But what he wouldn't say to his friends is, well, I got rejected, but over a period of time, hopefully I can get her to change her mind. I might be a bit coercive with that. And she could see me for someone actually to be in a romantic relationship with. Men don't tell their friends that.
Okay.
They just say to them, I'm in the friend zone, and the mates go, okay.
So first, I think, but you're assuming that every single type of friend zone has to include somebody wanting to like coercively make sure that it becomes a romantic relationship. Basically, one can.
I gave examples of how men use the word friend zone. I didn't say every.
Okay. Okay, so if not all situations are like that, there's going to be situations in which a friend zone exists and nothing quote unquote bad happens. And that the reason I can say that is because of my definition of friend zone being simply a situation. Because that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say friends. When I say friend zone, I just mean a situation in which one person wants a romantic relationship, the other person wants a platonic, one of them accepts.
We're becoming circular, and I'm going to switch up
Okay,
again because ultimately we're saying the same thing. And
problem.
again, you're just describing a interaction between two people.
Yeah, that's what I'm describing.
Doesn't
Yeah.
need to be given this term friend zone, but you want to because you want to try and like categorize it into something that a man is now being put in, or that a man is now in. When again, she hasn't consented to that dynamic.
I think it's the man's fault. I don't blame on the women at all, because
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. There are women out there that use the phrase as well, and I'd hold the same standard to women by saying that if women said that, I'd hold them accountable on that wording as well. All right,
no, I mean the person. I don't blame it on the person. Like I don't blame it on the person who's doing the rejecting. So if somebody rejects a person and then the person wants that and accepts to be friends, then I wouldn't really say that anyone's a victim there or anyone's like a bad person there. I think they've both accepted the situation, and that's their own. I would give advice on the person who's got rejected to not be friends until the feelings leave. But if you continue to be in that relationship, and you even though you want more, that would be bad. That's a bad thing. I would say that's like not that smart.
Thanks for coming up, Ethan.
Okay.
Take care. Bye bye.
Okay.
So many people. Anonymous, you said you've got one question and you keep on talking about Bonnie Blue. You must really like her. Age and pronouns, please.
I am. He, him.
And your age?
32.
Thank you. Right. So you keep on talking about Bonnie Blue. You're promoting her. What's the question?
Nah, I wouldn't say promoting. I have mentioned the name a few times, like, but no, so body count. So if your son is say, for example, he's 18 and he slept with 300 people in a year, like you would be disappointed.
No.
No, but you can. Would a lot of people be disappointed? Can you agree to
that? Sure, but a lot of men would also be holding on to misogyny and holding on to gender roles. So that's what patriarchy does, right? It conditions you to believe that certain things are a problem when they don't have to be. So when you say 300 people, he's had schmecks pretty much once a day?
Yeah.
Okay. So is he being safe and consensual?
I don't know. For argument's sake, let's just say yeah.
Cool. Then it's not my business. He's an adult. As long as if he's safe, as long as if he's being consensual, he's not causing
harm. So if he's not safe then?
Well then, yeah, I'd obviously have a concern with that and I'd talk to him about it because that's healthcare. So of course I care about my children's health. So yeah.
So you genuinely wouldn't care if your son slept with like 1,000 people?
Well, it's not my business. So what am I going to do? Like follow
him around? With moralism, like how he treats women, surely.
Well, you're assuming now he's treating women badly.
No, because what he thinks of women, I should say then.
So again, you're assuming that he thinks of women badly.
Yeah, because he'd just be a one-night stand.
Okay, and have the women consented to this one-night stand? Don't speak to them again,
that kind of thing.
Have these women consented to that one-night stand?
Well, yeah, obviously, otherwise it'd be rape.
But then it's the same for them, isn't it? If they just see it as a one-night stand and move on tomorrow, like, where's the issue for either of them? Is she objectifying him?
I just think the vast majority of people, I understand, like, you're doing these for the debate. I understand that, so you've got to disagree with everyone.
This is the issue, right? A lot of men think it's a debate, but what they don't recognize is this is what social conditioning has just done to men. Like, you seem to think that body count is an issue because you've pretty much been told throughout your whole life that it's what does it say
I think it
about
is, because
women?
I think if a man, I haven't got a son, but I genuinely think if my son said, "Come home to me," and bragged about sleeping with 500
You keep
young
adding
women,
variables. You keep adding variables to change the story, right? From like to begin with, it was 300 in a year. Then it was, let's say that it wasn't safe. Now it's suddenly bragging about it. Like this is the issue that I have, right? Is you're kind of proving the point, but you're not seeing it. You're adding in variables to make it sound like it's a bad thing because you have to add in the way that it's described, the way that it was done, the way that it was experienced, rather than like if they're safe and consensual and they're having schmex as an adult, they can do what they want, but you're
Well, of course
changing
they
it to
can.
make it sound bad.
Of course, he can do what he wants, yeah, but it's not.
So what if he had Smex with 300, but he wasn't bragging about it?
I think I've still brought. If I had the son and he done that, it's still wrong. I
What's wrong
would be.
about
I
it?
would be disappointed
What's wrong about it?
because that's not the way I'd bring him up. I'd want him to find.
There we go. See, you want to try and push your agenda of how to live your life through your son. That's what you're doing. You're saying you should live your life the way I think you should live your life. And that's what men do. And I'm not saying it's just men, but majority of the time, that's what fathers do, right? My father told me to suppress my emotions. My father told me if I express them or I cry, I'm less of a man, I'm less masculine, I'm weak. So I'm going to tell my son the same thing because I think that's how I should live my life and how he should live his. Guess what? Men's mental health and men's self-unaliving is at its worst right now.
Yeah,
Maybe,
and
maybe
don't
not
get me
self-unaliving.
started on that. Yeah, because I'd be there all day talking about men's mental health.
Yeah, sure. I'm a qualified psychotherapist. That's what I call. That's my job, right? So my point is that when men seem to have these beliefs, they don't see the knock-on effects of how that's affecting them throughout upholding the same belief system that maybe their fathers and grandfathers have passed down to them. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you had a son who was 4 years old, and you took him to a charity shop, and you were like, "Listen, my treat. Pick any toy from here that you want, all right? Anything." And he came back up to you and he showed you a Barbie doll. Would you buy it for him?
Good question. Well, he's only 4, isn't he?
Not a good question. The point is,
He's only 4.
you didn't immediately say yes, right? Because there was something there that had a reservation within you. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Right. So again, this is my point. You've already got it conditioned into you that my son playing with a Barbie doll means what? What is it you think that's going to mean?
Well, yeah. No, I understand that. No, you are right saying that. Yeah, absolutely. And to
That's
be
my
fair,
point, though.
he's only 4. Whereas if you change it, if he's 14, I'll be
Why?
honest, like I would be a bit disappointed. I would.
Oh, that's a horrible thing to say. Why would you be disappointed about him choosing the age of
But
14?
you still love him. You still, obviously, he's your son, so you'd still love him and that. But you would be, I think, because naturally, men would.
Not natural. Let's not do that. It's not natural. It's my point. It's societal conditioning.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah, then my bad. Take that back. So, I was going to say it again then. No, they would, like my dad, for example. He wanted me to become like a footballer, and then he was not angry, but he was disappointed when I was basically rubbish at football. And then he was like, "Oh, let's go to the next sport: cricket, golf,
Yeah.
that kind of thing."
Cool. So I get it, right? Your dad wanted to share moments with you. Yeah, like he had an interest in something, and I look, I'm guilty of it as well. Like, I'm not saying that I am completely immune to patriarchal conditioning. I loved Pokemon as a kid. Guess what I'm doing with my son? Playing Pokemon, right? Like, of course, because I get to enjoy parts of my childhood and share that with him. The difference is Pokemon isn't really specifically gendered, right? Anyone can like Pokemon. It's not something that you'd specifically say is more boy or more girl or more, anyone in particular. It's just something for everyone, right? But the issue is that when you then express disappointment in him playing with dolls, and there's a reason why he's playing with dolls, you're not feeding into that, you're rejecting it. You're sort of saying, I don't want to engage because what my father and I did together is what I want to do with my son. And I think that's a sad thing to hear, because you're almost saying I'm refusing to connect with him based on the fact that what I really hoped for has not now happened.
But anyone, I'd never refuse to connect with them. Like you will get some men.
So if he was 14, would you start doing role play with dolls with him?
No.
Right, and that's my point, right? Is like,
No, but someone else can do that. Like the mum could do that.
so again, gender roles. Why not you? Why can't you tap into that? Why can't you do that?
Yeah.
What does it say about? What do you think it says about you? That's the issue that I have, right? And it's the same with things like body count. It pushes a narrative of the ways in which these things are supposedly meant to be bad or meant to be like specifically gender based. I can't remember the name of it, but like people in the chat will 100% know. But there's like groups of dads that go to pubs now, all with like I believe like a hair doll in front of them, and they're all learning how to do like, I don't know if it's like braids or hairstyles. They're all doing it with a pint.
Beards and braids. I'm pretty sure it's beards and braids. Yeah, I think it's beard and braids. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they're all sitting there doing it and literally having a great time. But you would look at that and think to yourself, oh, like a lot of them have got, I wouldn't want to do that. And it's like, why? Because you just never thought that you would do that, right? But that's how society.
You are right. Sorry to interrupt. Because I'd do that if it was my daughter. Yeah, obviously I would. Yeah, but then not if it was my son. But that I agree with you. That's the way society is now. That's the way people have been brought up.
Can I just 29 he him? I just want to make a couple of points in regards to the topic. Social conditioning is the way in which we envelop what these gender roles that we prescribe to currently, and we've seen it evolve over time. Because prior to this, what you would consider to be quite feminine things or for things for women, men were actually doing before, and it's only now that we've been conditioned to think otherwise that is the way. For instance, back in the day, men would wear high heels, men would wear makeup, men would wear dresses. As throughout the sort of 70s and 80s, men were wearing crop tops and experimenting with their hair and their makeup because it was deemed cool to have that aesthetic. And so when I suppose what's like frustrating to hear you talk, and wigs, yes, thank you for bringing it up. I suppose what's frustrating to hear coming from you is that you're perpetuating a very harmful narrative that contributes to the very real mental health issues that you claim to care about. This idea that you're not going to play with your son if he wants to play with dolls and do that, you're contributing to the very real mental health issues that men are suffering with, that you claim to care about, that you claim that you could sit here and talk about all day.
So what you're saying, I don't care about men's mental health?
No, I'm not saying you don't care about it. I'm saying that you're contributing to the very real issue that is causing men's mental health to be as bad as it is, because you're perpetuating harmful narratives about what men should and shouldn't like, because your dad taught you what men should and shouldn't like. Can you see? Do you see how like this is one of the causes as to what leads men to having difficult men's mental health, as in they feel like they can't enjoy the things they want to enjoy. They can't go with their friends to get their nails painted or their nails looked after because men like you would deem them less manly if they did. What if one of your male friends who is straight, has a partner, decides that he's watched his wife cover up like blemishes with makeup, and so as a result he wants to experiment with makeup, not necessarily to do anything other than to cover, but even if he wanted to go further, the way you talk about men of a certain age, you like from 14 upwards, let's say, because we've established 14, the way you talk about them and what they should and shouldn't like and what you would feel comfortable doing with them contributes to the very real mental health issues you say you care about.
I've got no issue with, like you mentioned, wigs and makeup. I've got no issues with that.
But if your son, if your son who's 14 came to you, sorry,
I have to, again, anonymous, like you're replying to people in the chat where this man has said, "You're not at all, mate. I wouldn't let my son play dress up either," and you're responding by laughing to him.
So I was going to say then, sorry, I've got no issues with like men wearing wigs, or you've got.
But your son,
obviously.
What about your son?
Yeah, your son. Yeah, no issue.
So then, how do you not want to play with your son with dolls?
Yeah, I just think there's a big issue. Wigs, even makeup. People people will wear makeup out there, obviously for different reasons. People will wear makeup to look better, to feel better about themselves, so the confidence.
But that's what makeup is for. Makeup is to enhance the looks of someone. What I'm saying to you, but what I'm saying to you is, then how have you sat there and told us that you wouldn't play with your son for playing dolls? When I've just described to you back in the, what?
Sorry, I just think there's a massive difference. Like, I wouldn't let my son, say if he's 16 or 14, but we'll stick on them then. 14, I wouldn't let him wear a dress. No.
So then again, that's the, so if your son now, after the years of you denying him what he wants to do because you have your feelings about it, rather than trying to support your son in the things that he wants to do, if your son turns around and says to you, my mental health is bad, and one of the leading contributing factors has been the way that you've raised me, because I wanted to do certain things and you stopped me because you didn't like it, what are you going to say?
Well, no, I physically can't stop. Like, I've got no choice, have I? If he wants to wear a dress, then I can't rag it off him. But deep down, I would be like disappointed. I would.
So Anonymous, I feel like you're not answering. Answer the questions that I'm actually like asking you, please, because you're pivoting because there's part of you that doesn't want to look or sound as bad as you actually are, and I get it. But I want you to answer the question. If your son came to you and said to you, my mental health is bad, I'm actually, trigger warning chat, I'm actually quite depressed. And I've been seeing a therapist because stuff about my childhood was not okay. And one of the reasons I'm the way I am is because of the way you raised me, because I wanted to do certain things and you stopped me. Then what are you going to say to him?
Well, I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed in myself, wouldn't I, then? Obviously.
Right.
But so you can make that change now then, can't you?
Right. You could literally decide, I'm not going to behave that way right now. If my son wants to do something, I will support him. You could literally make that change right now, this instant. But you're choosing not to because society and your limited worldview, you're worried about how that's going to respond to the way you potentially raise your son. You could do this right now.
But deep down, I would still be, you'd still be disappointed. It's like a woman. I genuinely think now, the way the world is now, so someone's a woman, a couple have a baby, yeah, and it's a little girl. Obviously, majority of the time, well, I don't know, but the man will want a man. The woman will, the man, sorry, will want a son, and the mum
That's
will
not
want
always true. That's not always true. Go on.
Yeah, not always true, yeah. But I honestly think the mother would want, if she's got a daughter, she would want her to go to like dance classes and that.
That's not always true. That's not always true.
That's why I said.
Anonymous.
That's why I said a lot of the time. Can you let me speak?
What you're doing is you're making a massive assumption, and these are primitive stereotypes about what you think women want based on the gender roles you've been conditioned to think that they're going to want, and that men are going to want. And actually, that's like what we're trying to get you to understand is this is unhealthy. This isn't the way to think about your children. Your children, the key things that you want for your children is to be healthy and happy. Those are the key things. Hope that you raise them that into people that don't hurt other people. But these stereotypes are not it, because there are plenty of women out there who will have daughters and be like, yeah, let's get you into street dancing. Yeah, let's get you into rugby and football, because those sports are not inherently man or woman, boy or girl. They're just sports that anyone can and should play them if they want to. And so the opposite is true for boys. If someone has a son and that boy decides he wants to do ballet, like we've got to get out of this frame of mind whereby I want to have a boy so I can teach him football. I want to have a girl so I can take her ballet. All of that, everyone is trying to throw away all that because we care about our kids' mental health. And I'm telling you that the way you're talking are the signs of people who don't give a damn about their kids' mental health.
I just think the world that like it's done now. Like it's gone. Like even pronouns and stuff. Yeah, and obviously that's the lovely thingy. But
I'm leaving it there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep.
No. and I think
I didn't say that when he gave pronouns when he came up. Like,
right,
what?
right, and I think he was also just listening to respond rather than, because again, the amount of times he refused to actually like respond to what you said, respond to what I said, just kept pivoting because he knew it sounded bad, and it's like, come on, man, like engage honestly and let's get to the root of it. I cannot like, for anyone listening right now, that is such dangerous rhetoric, and we as a society have collectively got to come away from thinking that your children are extensions of you. They're not. You don't get to decide what your children are going to be interested in because of what you want them to be interested in. That is not for you to decide. Your children are born into this world autonomous beings. Sure, they don't have the words or the foreknowledge to articulate it or show it when they're babies, but they are their own people. And if you go into like having children thinking that I'm doing it so that I can have someone to look after me when I'm older, I'm doing it so I can have someone to go with me to the pub later on so I can watch the football with, so I'm doing it so I've got someone to go shopping with, all these things that you think your son or your daughter is going to prescribe to, I'm gonna make a really bold like statement here. Please do not have children. And that's not me. I'm not saying it lightly, and I'm not saying it in a way that is meant to cause harm. But I want you to understand that you're bringing someone into this world only to do harm to them. I've been that boy. I'm sorry, I'm crying now. I've been that boy who just wanted to do what he wanted to do. I have been that boy. And I have been surrounded by people who told me that my way of existing is not real, that I shouldn't be that way. I've been that boy trying to adhere to the expectations of what people expected of me. And it's painful. It is brutal thinking that no one is going to love me for the way I am. There are so many people walking around that think that having children because it's a natural thing to do is the way forward, and it's not if you are not ready to love that child unconditionally. So please listen to what I'm saying, and keep it in mind, because we cannot take this lightly. Trigger warning chat again. Children are unaliving. They're unaliving because of the way gender roles have constructed in our society. They're being taken from us. And not because they are the way they are, but because of the way society treats them for being the way they are. So please, do away with your rigid gender roles. Do away with your expectations of your children. And if you can't do that, if you are not ready to have that conversation about what it means to be a parent, what it means to bring a child into this world, then please don't do it, because you will do more harm than good. No amount of selfishness that you want of you wanted to give your love to a human being should trump the fact that you're going to do irreparable harm to the human being you're going to conceive. And that's all I'll say on that. It's a painful thing to talk about. I'm not going to apologize for crying, because I think it's quite serious. It was a very that's why I felt like I needed to come out, because it's dangerous. It really is dangerous, and I need us all to get on board with it or get out of the way. That's it. Look after each other. Love you all. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for also locking in when I spoke about this, because I do think it's important stuff that we all need to seriously talk about and seriously be on the same page about, because with the world burning as it is, we can do better than bringing humans into the world and destroying their mental health. We can do better than that. We don't have to do that. There's actually another option. Anyway, I love you. I'm going to finish crying, and I'll be around still. Bye bye.
You know where we are, Darian. Take care, buddy. Okay, let's go with. If you're not a man who disagrees, please cancel the request just in case you are already requesting. Vic, no. Anonymous, I can see your messages. Ultimately, it's just trying to recognize. Donedo, I can do this evening. It's just trying to recognize, Anonymous, that this is the problem with the wording, right? Is that the rhetoric you were giving was that the love wasn't unconditional. To express disappointment in your son wearing some sort of fabric clothing, people are not going to take that lightly. They're not. NHB, age and pronouns, please. It's fabric. What's there to be disappointed about? Hello? 3, 2, 1, 0. But that's the issue, Anonymous. When you say, I think a lot of men would be too, you're proving the point of how all men until no men. Men complain about how men's self-unaliving rates and men's mental health is getting worse, but then men are also upholding beliefs that's contributing to it. You can't complain about one when you're being the root of it. That doesn't make sense. Part-time. Disproportionate, Anonymous. Disproportionate. Okay, Nightmare, you might be able to come up later on this evening, but not this afternoon. Emanuela, age and pronouns, please. Hello? No, accidental. Okay. For those of you that are wondering as well, all lives do get uploaded. So if you have missed them, yesterday evenings was heavy. This might also be called that as well. Kitty has just put the link in the chat. Thank you so much for doing that. If you do want to catch up on other lives that you might have missed, they are all up on the red and white platform. They're on the tube. Please also drop a follow. We're on 126 at the moment. If we could get to 130, that would be amazing. No worries, Emanuela. Thanks for letting me know. And obviously, if you want to watch them, then you'll never worry about missing them again. You know. And also, you can skip parts if you don't like what you're listening to. Appreciate you, Maxine. I hope you're well. It's lovely to see you here. See, Quinny, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's so hot, genuinely. It's horrible. Yes, Kimmy, we'll have to hold you accountable for that. I genuinely think that the watch time is really irrelevant until you get 1,000, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it has any kind of impact. Unless it does boost on the algo, I don't know. Kia Scoot! Stephanie, thank you so much. Claudine, we are on 128 now. Love that. Love that. Only 2 more to go. Then we've hit the target. Wizard, that one's called Lex Talk. So 12 podcast episodes that have been released. That's called Lex Talk, which is a separate one. There is going to be a season or series 2, which has already started in terms of the recording. Episode 1 will be released I don't think too far away from that actually, and that is its own series about something that I'm going to leave as a bit of a open thing. Yeah. 130! Woo! We got it. We got 130. Hilary, thank you so much. There we go. 130. Woo! That's it. That's it. Target reached for this afternoon. By this evening, we're going to hope to get 135. I try 5 alive, right? 5 a day, whatever it was. We're trying to get 5 alive. It was 5 alive. Every live, if we can get 5, that'd be amazing. Yeah, that'd be good. Almighty, I believe you just got muted. Age and pronouns, please.
Age 24, pronouns he, him.
Thank you. Which prompt do you disagree with?
Sorry, can you hear all the background noise, like the fan and stuff, or is it okay?
It's all right for now. Which prompt do you disagree with?
The friend zone doesn't.
Okay, sorry. 2. Yeah, okay. No, yeah, fine. Thank you, Kitty. Thank you, Darian. Almighty, you got muted for transphobic comments.